Hey, what's up? This is Thiago Titan. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is the champion guide of Yakarl the Scourge, a legendary attack champion from the Barbarians faction, whose fragments we can buy in the clan shop. So he is a free champion. Everyone can get this champion, and he has amazing skills. He is very useful in many locations. And I believe if you didn't buy yet his fragments, you will start to buy, because after you see this video you will see how good he is and how useful he can be to your account. Looking at his base stats, he has very high attack, HP and defense, and good HP actually. Defense is a little low, and he has a very low speed and 10 accuracy. It's always good. And now let's take a look at his skills. His A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has 40% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn, 50% chance with books. Will ignore 25% of the target's defense against targets under freeze debuffs. This is actually good. And he attacks 2 times. If he freezes the enemy in the first hit, his second hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense, which is always good. And of course, if he already was frozen before, both hits will ignore a 25% defense. His second ability attacks one enemy, has 75% chance when booked 100% of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 3 turns, and a 75% 100 when booked chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. This is really good, and also steals 100% of the target's turn meter and places a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 3 turns, and will ignore 50% of the target's defense against targets under freeze debuff. Again, he will ignore defense against targets under freeze defense, and this is a really good skill. It deals big damage here, and he steals 100% of the target's turn meter. It's really good. It's a 4 turn cooldown. When booked is a 3 turn cooldown. His A3 attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. This chance increases to 100% against targets with 75% or more turn meter. This debuff cannot be resisted by targets with 75% or more turn meter. So AoE attack with a 75% chance of freeze. If the enemies have 75% or more turn meter, the chance of freezing will be 100%, and the debuff cannot be resisted. So this is actually a great skill to use at the start of the battle, when most of the champions have their turn meter almost full because they are ready to attack. And it's really good because this debuff cannot be resisted, so we don't care about how much resistance the enemy has, because it cannot be resisted and can be very useful, mostly in arena. His passive has a passive effect and active effect. The passive one increases the damage this champion inflicts by 10% for each champion in a battle under a freeze debuff, and decreases damage this champion receives by 10% for each champion in battle under a freeze debuff. So for each champion under a freeze debuff, Yakarl will inflict 10% more damage and receive 10% more damage from the enemies. I'm not sure if this counts with allies and enemies under freeze debuff or only enemies. Doesn't say, but okay, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but okay. And the active effect places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever they kill an enemy under a freeze debuff. It can be very useful too. And his aura increases ally attack in all battles by 33%. It's very high, and it's very useful too in all battles. Can be very good. So we have here a champion with very good skill that can be very useful in many locations in the game, and that's what I'm going to show you now. The first place I want to show you Yakarl is in Nightmare campaign, stage 12-6. He can do it. He can solo a Nightmare campaign, so it can be very useful. Look at this. One thing, it starts with his A2. He gives priority to his A2, not his A3. So can be a problem. Sometimes yes, but look at this. He's not the fastest champion doing this, but it's very useful. Look at that. Here, okay, it will be around 40 seconds. "38 seconds, not my best time, of course, but can be very useful if you want. If you don't have a better champion, you have a free champion here to farm Nightmare campaign. However, I must tell you, it's not 100% win rate here, because if Lord Shazar can place some bombs in Yakarl, he will die. So this is why it's not 100% win rate. But it can be very useful if you're struggling to finish Nightmare campaign, to finish all stages with 3 stars. You can use Yakarl, and of course you bring another champion, because you can use 2 champions to do 3 stars, and you can use support champion to help Yakarl, and he will help you a lot here. We are in the classic arena now. We'll see Yakarl, what he will do. Okay, here you can see all enemies are over 75% turn meter, so his freeze debuff cannot be resisted, and this is amazing. Look at this. Let's slow here. Whoa! And good damage too. Lydia and Chris are dead, and we and Brogni and Mountain King have half HP left. Okay, let's do it. Okay, this is a problem of Yakarl. He freezes, he has a chance. He freezes and he can deal more damage against frozen champions, but he needs to get a second turn, and when it happens, all freeze debuffs are gone. So if you want to take advantage of that, you will need to bring another champion, a champion with freeze debuffs, so Yakarl can attack when enemies are frozen. So let's try here against Mountain King. 111, really good, and now it can be auto. Okay, now I want to show you something different. I bring Lysaea Solglire. She has 80% chance to freeze the enemies here, and that's what we're going to do. So Yakarl can attack and ignore defense and deal more damage because of his passive. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is amazing. So here, by his passive, he has 10% chance. He deals 10% more damage for each freeze debuff, so he will deal 40% more damage. And if you use his A2, he will ignore more. He will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Here he will ignore 25. But I want to use. I could use here this one. No, I want to see this one. Is A2 can be against Warlord. We'll ignore 50% of the defense and we'll steal his own. He doesn't have a high. He doesn't have a very high turn meter, but it's okay. He will steal it. 208. 208 damage. Whoa. This was incredible. Let's fill turn meters to see if we can get an extra turn. Oh, amazing. So now we'll try the AoE with the 3 debuffs, 3 freeze debuffs, so means 30% more damage. 100 was the highest damage. It was actually good, and it is a fun champion to use in the arena. Not only fun, it is very useful and very good. It deals a lot of damage, and of course, here in a different strategy with a second champion that can bring these freeze debuffs. Of course, it's not the same as having Yakarl trying to freeze, because Yakarl freeze debuffs cannot be resisted if the enemies have 75% or more turn meter, and Lysaea's debuffs can be resisted if the enemies have very high resistance. But in this battle it worked and gave Yakarl the chance to deal much more damage. Now in the Doom Tower Heart, he can be very good here too because of his damage, his debuffs. He always starts with his A2, he steals turn meter, and now it was almost an extra turn. He got a turn just in time to freeze these enemies, so it's really cool. Of course, if you want him to start with his A3, just build a team with the presets and give priority to his A3. But here, he's amazing here. He can be very useful in Toon Tower to help you to go up all these floors. The more you go up, the more accuracy your champions need, and the fact of Yakarl don't need accuracy to place these debuffs, these freeze debuffs, when the enemies, of course, when the enemies have 75% or more, turn meter can be very useful. And it can help you a lot if you have problems here to win the battles. And crowd control debuffs are always good here. These debuffs, your enemies will lose their turn, so it gives you more time to deal more damage or to decrease cooldowns of your skills to win the battle. It gives you the edge of the battle. Yakarl is good to in some dungeons. I can say Fire Knight dungeon, he can be useful there. And spiders then too. I will not show you him in this video. I think I will do a second video in spiders then, because he will need a different build. Look, he died, but that's all how we have Arbiter here to revive our champions every time they need. Look, he deals a lot of damage, and this unkillable buff can be very good too, to help so he doesn't die so many times. As I was saying about dungeons, I will try with a different build in spiders, because he cannot deal damage to the spiderlings, so he needs a build without damage. And I believe he can be very useful too in the potion skips, to help you go through the waves, and he deals a lot of damage, so he can help too against the bosses. So you have here a champion that can help you in a lot of places. And two, in Faction Wars. Faction Wars script is closed, so I cannot show you there, but I'm sure I will use him there, because I don't have many damage dealer champions to use in Faction Wars, in this faction. I will use him, and I'm sure he's thanks to him I will do it faster than before, because he deals so much damage. He's not the best nuker in the game, no, but he's a free champion, and he's a very good one. He's Void Affinity, free champion, Void Affinity. What can we ask more? He deals good damage, he has good debuffs. Again, he's an unkillable buff. And the battle is over. This is how I equipped Yakarl, with a perception set and a lethal set. So he has 5800 attack, 222 speed, 247 crit damage, and accuracy 301. It's not high, but it's enough. As you saw in the battles, it's enough. And these are the masteries I gave him. More to PvP, I mean the arenas. The artifacts I recommend for him are Savage, Lethal, Crit Damage, Cruel, Perception, Speed, Fatal, and Swift Parry. All thinking about damage. His priority stats are, of course, Crit Rate, Crit Damage, Attack, Accuracy, and Speed. The primary stats I recommend for the gloves are Crit Rate or Crit Damage, Attack percentage for the chest plate, for the boot speed, and if you have enough speed from the substats in the other artifacts, you can give him attack percentage, attack for the ring, crit damage for the amulet, and the banner accuracy. Or if you have enough accuracy in the substats in the other artifacts, or if you don't even care about accuracy and you want him just for damage you can give him attack. So Yakarl the Scourge is a very good champion in the arenas, faction wars, campaign, Doom Tower stages, and some dungeons like Fire Knights and Spider's Den. He can be very good there too. Let's see his books. He 4 books here for 8 and plus 4, 12 in his passive don't need. So 12 books, mostly to decrease cooldowns, to give more debuff chance and some damage. It can work without books. Of course with books he's even better, but it can work without books if you don't have books for him. So let me know in the comments if you already have this champion, where you're going to use him, and if you like him. Thank you so much for watching the video. Subscribe my channel if you like my content, and I will see you in the next video.